Welcome to Fall Rise Give, a space where we invite you to dig into the real cause of your suffering, looking at opportunities for growth with a change in your beliefs, thoughts, and actions so you can be your true self and be inspired. Join us as we explore life's ups and downs and navigate the twists and turns, sharing stories of resilience, hope, and the transformative power of giving back. Whether you're looking for a change, in recovery, or simply seeking inspiration, this podcast is your go-to for candid conversations, raw emotions, and a whole lot of heart. Tune in and discover how to fall, rise, and give back on life's extraordinary journey. Fall, Rise, Give turns struggles into opportunities by being your true self and help others. How you doing? I'm bartender Bob, and that's my good friend Kumar. How was your week?
It was great. The weekend was even better so far. So I went to University of Washington Husky football game yesterday. Great weather in the 70s, and it was really an awesome experience. They won, obviously. It was a tough opponent in my mind, and just football season has started. I'm getting fired up about that. It's starting to get a little cooler out there, so it's just been a great couple of weeks and a great Saturday yesterday.
You know, you brought up a couple of good things right there because football season has started. It started last Thursday. We watched the game on Friday. It was the Packers and Eagles, and they played over in Brazil. And I don't know if you watched any of that game at all, but it was weird to see these players slipping as much as they did on the field. You know, they actually physically slipped when they were playing, and I would guess that as a football player or anybody that's in professional sports, that you'd want to have your stadium, you want to have your playing field to be right when you're playing. You know, you said that you watched the game yesterday. I mean, if the field was slippery, you think that the players would have done as well as they did?
Probably not. And I think in the soccer stadium in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, I think that's where it was. The Packers played the Eagles. It was a great atmosphere, but yeah, the players were slipping quite a bit. I think they're playing on a soccer stadium, and so that's probably why. I think it was probably natural turf instead of the artificial turf that the most NFL games are on.
Yeah, it wasn't. I guess they had to switch shoes like partway through the game, but I still watched them. I still watched them slip and slide. But anyway, we digress. I'm grateful though for this time of the year. Like you mentioned, the whole weather thing. We went from being in the 80s and 90s to this last week being in the 70s. Nice and cool. Overnight's about 48 degrees. And I'll tell you what, it has just been beautiful. And it just makes me so happy and grateful to be in this area.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting. You're being grateful. And then today's topic being attitude of gratitude. Yeah. And then Thanksgiving is just around the corner, right? It's a couple of months away or 3 months away now, September, October, November. It's one of my favorite holidays. And so I'm super excited about that. I'm sure we'll talk about gratitude when that hits the season as well. But yeah, I was talking to some friends about attitude of gratitude, and it's such an important thing to be grateful. And we'll talk about some research and some things that I've been able to find out about actual research done on people who are more grateful. And it's one of the best things that I've been able to do. I'm in the group of guys, there's about 6 of us, that share a gratitude list every morning. And at 6:30, like clockwork, this one of our friends from Portland, Oregon, sends a text out. And then one guy's in Utah, one guy's in Olympia, Washington, a couple of guys on the Oregon coast. And so it's an amazing thing to have a gratitude list with some guys. Just reminds you of being grateful every day.
Right. And I really think that being grateful and thinking about and actually pausing for a moment and looking around and just being grateful for the things that you have in your life. I know that we're friends on Facebook, so you follow some of the things that I've done over the last few years. I have my hammock thoughts that I do, and it always, not always, but most of the time it's based around gratitude. It's based around just enjoying the simple things in life, from looking down to seeing, you know, green grass or snow or whatever season it happens to be, or looking up into the sky and seeing either a bright blue sky or a nice orange sun or the clouds because it's rain. I mean, just to find gratefulness, just to find gratitude in your everyday things makes you, I think, a better person, but it also puts you at peace and puts you in harmony with yourself.
It totally does. It totally does. And there's actually been quite a bit of research. So basically, it improves your mental health. It increases your well-being and life satisfaction, better physical health, increases resilience, stronger relationships, empathy, and reduces aggression, improves the self-esteem. A whole bunch of research done on this topic, and we'll read some of that from my sources. But yeah, attitude of gratitude really is a way. I think there are three things that really make a difference in people's lives. Number one, I think, is exercise. Just moving your body a little bit gets your hormones going, gets your endorphins flowing. Number two is music. Music can really uplift our emotions, and it can be really, really good for our well-being. And then number third, I think, is being grateful. You have to be able to shift your thoughts to a positive outlook. We've talked about that. And the best way to do that is to start thinking about all the things that you're grateful for. As soon as you start thinking about all the things you're grateful for, you start to think about this attitude of gratitude. And in this sense, start thinking about, abundance, that you have lots of great things happening in your life. And that's kind of the abundant thing. Abundance sometimes gets looped up into money, but I think in abundance, attitude is all around having a lot of things to be grateful for.
So is the term attitude of gratitude, those words, is that a attitude adjustment saying, or is that just something that, because I've heard that many times, but I didn't know if it was directly correlation tied into the Alcoholics Anonymous program.
I don't know for sure, but I do know that people do talk about gratitude a lot more in the attitude adjustment program
Mm-hmm.
than I've heard anywhere else in life. And so maybe that's a saying that comes out of that, probably does. And it's something that people really talk about is, hey, you have so many things to be grateful for. And it's really important that we take a pause, like you said, take inventory of all the good things that are happening in our lives. Just to be alive is one of those great things that comes out of hardcore alcoholics, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're so close to death. So many people die of alcoholism every year. And so for them, it's a big deal. And for people like me who are kind of your average mainstream drinkers who want to be sober, it's less of a life and death situation, but it's also a well-being and thriving in life where I want to be grateful for all the things so I can go ahead and focus on all the things that I want to achieve. Being grateful helps you achieve more. It doesn't make you complacent just by being grateful.
Mm-hmm.
The more positive you are, the more apt you are to do more positive things. It's kind of maybe a paradoxical intent that you think good things and good things happen, but if you start to be grateful, you don't get complacent. You start to benefit from just an attitude that allows you to think bigger, think more. While being complacent, you're starting to achieve more and start to think of positive thoughts.
Now, do you think being part of the attitude adjustment program has put you into more, because you're around more like-minded people, so you're around people that that want to improve themselves and want to do better about getting rid of some of the vices that they've had, like drinking and drugs and et cetera, et cetera, that being around the like-minded people gives you more positive thoughts about different things, and gives you that extra little push to be more grateful?
Yeah, I think it definitely does. I think that's the best part about being around recovering alcoholics. Most of them haven't drank for a long time. There's a few members who are what we call day counters. We're counting days, 16 days, 17 days, 30
Mm-hmm.
days, things like that. But most of the people in the program that I know are been there longer than 6 months. So they're really in it to not only recover, but also to thrive. And so we talk a lot about emotional sobriety. It's like, what are the reasons you actually drink? how do you manage your emotions? How do you pause before reacting? That's one of the best tools out there in life, is not to react to some statement that somebody said and get angry and frustrated and things like that. So we talk a lot about things like a lot of people have anger and they just now pause and reflect and don't react as much to what other people think. So there's a lot of great tools that come out of people who are working on emotional sobriety. And then the biggest thing that you get out of the program is what I call spiritual sobriety. How do you connect with your version of your God or your higher power? And so a lot of people talk about God shots or things that happen in their life that are like little miracles that
Did you
allow them to.
did you say God shot? Like,
Yeah, yeah, that's a big saying in attitude adjustment program. God shots are things like little miracles, or it could be big miracles, that kind of shows you that your higher power is looking out for you,
mhm.
and kind of like a little miracle that shows you. It's like a sign that says that you're connected to a higher power.
Okay.
It's a very popular saying, and a lot of people talk about God shots in the middle of a meeting, or like somebody will go on to a meeting, talk about a topic, and that's exactly what you needed to hear today. And something was reflecting in your life on that day, on that thing, and ends up being kind of like a little miracle or a little insight that you needed to hear. And that's what people call a God shot.
It's funny that you say that, because Monique and I've had plenty of opportunities and experiences just in the last week where something has, and we've talked about it in the past about manifestation, that things just kind of happen when they need to happen. I mean,
Yep.
so that's kind of a similar uh, concept, maybe.
It is. It is. And, it's funny. I was thinking originally topic for today, and maybe we'll talk about it more. We're not experts in manifestation. We're not, you and I are, there's a lot of people out there talking about manifestation, your dreams and all of this stuff. But
Right.
I think in small ways, we all manifest certain things. We've talked about my daughter being a great manifester, right? She manifests a trip to Europe. She manifests getting her college paid. She
Mhm.
manifests a great job that she's got in San Francisco. So certain people are really good at manifestation, but I think certain things we manifest just with our thoughts, the smaller things. So little miracles that we can say, feel like I have great parking karma. So even yesterday, yeah. So I feel like just because I have good parking karma, I was able to find a parking spot close to the stadium, and in the middle of the day, there's 60,000 people out there, and
Right.
and so I was able to manifest that. Everywhere I go, I usually find the right parking spot. So things like that.
Now, if you were really the parking karma guy, you would be able to park. It would be right in front, and there would be time left on the meter.
Yeah, yeah. No, we went to a movie the other day. I think it was Thursday night. We went to go see one of the Marvel DC movies. Forgot one of the guys' names. It was Deadpool and Wolverine, and it was great. And I found a parking spot right across the street from the maybe 10 yards back from the entrance to the movie theater. It's kind
Right.
of like an old town mainstream, which is now a suburb of Seattle. They have a mainstream kind of a movie theater, old school, and I found a parking spot just 10 to 20 yards away from the front door.
Wow. See, lucky right there. And I've had that happen to me before in Chicago. So you've been to Chicago before, obviously. You ever been to the Lincoln Park Zoo?
Yes, I love
So
that place.
the Lincoln Park Zoo, it's free to get into. It costs $25 to park. So they get you either way. We were there right after COVID, and we were driving down the road to get to the Lincoln Park Zoo. There was parking on the street. I parallel parked, got in there. We walked. We went to the zoo. Zero cost in parking. Right. Then we wanted to go. We wanted to go to one of my favorite places, Chicago Pizza Subs and Grinders. They've got this bowl of pizza, and they make it the pizza in a bowl, and then they put the crust over the top, and then when they come out, they dump it out, and they have delicious sandwiches and stuff. We drove to go there, and there's usually a wait around the block to get in there. We
Yeah,
drive by. There's a parking spot right in front of the. I parallel parked, went in. No wait. We got in, sat down, ate. No cost in parking in Chicago 2 times in one day.
yeah,
Bam.
yeah.
You and I
And that
together, we probably
downtown
could park
parking,
anywhere.
yeah, downtown parking in Chicago is unreal. It's like 40 or $50.
Yeah.
I think it starts out at like 35, $40 just on the outskirts
for an
of
hour.
downtown. For yeah, I don't, yeah, it's crazy. In minimum parking. Yeah, I love Chicago. My sister lives there in a suburb, and I'm actually going there in November. We'll be doing a broadcast from Chicago. I usually go to Chicago twice a month. It's a great place, and I'm excited about my favorite wide receiver, as we talked about. Rome Odunze plays for the Chicago Bears now. He was the ninth overall pick, and so I'm excited to see what he does today in the NFL games. But yeah, talking about God shots, I think there's miracles everywhere. I actually recently read a book called Signs. It's one of the top books on Amazon on spirituality. And this woman talks about signs are everywhere. And once you start listening to signs, once you start tapping into that God consciousness or the spirituality, parking karma is one of the ways. Good luck. People who manifest good luck seems to be lucky all the time. They tend to be in the right place at the right time. Um, I think with a right level of mindset, which is attitude, you can actually start manifesting more miracles by being grateful, by being in the positive energy. You can't manifest any of these things if you're negative. If you're pessimistic about something, you're going to look for the wrong in everything.
Right.
That's the wrong way to accomplish anything.
And there's so many people out there that do that. And I look at just going into work. There's so much being working in the service industry as I do. There's so much negativity that's there. Albeit the people I work with, the people that are in the bar, going to complain about their whatever. If you turn your stuff around and start looking at things on a positive attitude, you're going to end up having the attitude of gratitude, as we're talking about. You're going to start seeing the good in things rather than the negative in things.
Yeah. And when you start thinking that way, the universe has this way through the law of attraction, attracting to you what your true heart's desires are.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to run into people with similar mindset. You start to maybe meet someone that you can start a business with or go on a dog walk with to talk about, whatever weather of the day or expertise in a particular book. There's a famous author named Anne Lamott. She's the last person that would be a Christian. She was a drug addict. She was a smoker. She was a tennis player in high school and just had a real rough life and situation. And she talks about spirituality and God a lot. And I'm a huge fan of that book. And one of the guys in my gratitude list text message group just mentioned about anything written by Anne Lamott. I read a number of Anne Lamott books. And so you attract things that you like, that you see. And so for me, the law of attraction is that thing. What you're thinking about, you tend to see. So I don't know about you, but I used to have a Honda Accord, and I used to have a silver / light champagne pink color Honda Accord.
Me too.
And
I swear to God, I had that same car, and
that's
mine
funny.
was a 5-speed. Was yours a 5-speed?
I don't think so. I think it was an
Okay.
automatic.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So what you do is when you have a Honda Accord, you notice everybody else who has a Honda Accord. You start seeing all the Honda Accords in the market. And then you see the one with the silver or that pink champagne, and you look inside that even more. Who's driving that car? Are they like me or are they not like me? So your mind, your frontal cortex looks at certain things that are familiar to you and starts to look at certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've talked to you about my new sports car that I bought back in February, March timeframe. Now, every time I see that car, I'm constantly looking in to see what kind of a person is driving that car. And so it's always about, for me, a reflection of that. And I also am very cautious about egos and making sure that I don't have the right level of ego because I have a sports SUV. I'm being very cautious about not driving in certain situations and making sure that I just being very careful about living in a positive, humble sort of a way. Life has this way of, making us humble by giving us challenges and struggles. And that's what we talk about in this show or this podcast. So I'm always very cautious about being very grateful for the car that I have, very grateful for the family that I have, the house that I have, the job that I have, to make sure that I don't take anything for granted, that I work as hard as I can in every situation.
Hmm.
But yeah, we all go through struggles. We all go through situations that get us down. It reminds me of something that happened to me this week. Um, that was a real bummer. I'll talk about that in a second, unless you have something you wanna bring up.
Oftentimes miss things because you're not looking, because you don't notice the signs that you have. You know, when you're talking about noticing things and seeing the different things in your life that'll make your life better. I think a lot of times that people walk through with blinders, and I think I've talked about that in the past, where gosh, I really wish that I had a dollar for a burger, and you just don't see the opportunity. You can go mow that person's lawn, or you can ask them if you can help with that, or a lot of times you don't see the things that will help you to the path that you need to take. That's all I was going to say. So,
Yeah, yeah. No, I think we talked about this, right? We talked
yeah.
about this, about reflecting a lot, about being present, being in the moment, and being mindful. A lot of the times when I'm not fully aware is because I've let my monkey mind run awry on something that takes me down a negative path,
Hmm.
or gets me frustrated or angry or whatever, or depressed or sad. My thinking is that when you're present and you're mindful, when you're looking at flowers and you're on your dog walk, or squirrels or bunnies or whatever, um, when you're mindful, you're more apt to see the signs out there. Like, what is the higher power or the universe trying to tell you? What is this thing, your thoughts that are clear? That leads me to this thing. I had an opportunity that I was really excited about in the last month. And the opportunity was very exciting for me. I don't want to talk about it in specifics, just because of a couple of things of anonymity that I want to maintain. And I was really excited about this opportunity. People that I would associate with, I've known for a long time, and I would have a chance to spend more time with them. And on Tuesday, right after the holiday, I was actually rejected from the opportunity. And the situation was, whatever um, it wasn't going to work out. And immediately, I looked at the principle that I learned from the attitude adjustment program of acceptance. From acceptance, I moved through. I was very disappointed. I was very hurt. I was very saddened. And I moved through a range of emotions. And it's funny, we're not talking about the struggles of my week. That's not how we started out talking about it. We started talking about gratefulness. So I moved from acceptance to being grateful just as the week went by. It's been less than a week since I got rejected from the situation. And I was deeply hurt. And because of the attitude adjustment program, I looked at that acceptance, and it wasn't meant to be. The situation was what it was. And I took acceptance at a true form, and I moved through life in my day to day actions, and became very grateful for all the things that I have in my current situations, my family, my friends, football, golf, job, finances, all of that stuff. I moved through, and I went through this grieving period of this opportunity that I was looking at. And I'm really glad that I moved through it within a week, from disappointed and hurt to, you know what, it is what it is, and moved on and had an attitude of gratitude the last few days. And we're talking about it today. So people will be disappointed. You will have things not work out for you, and accepting that, and then being grateful for everything else that you have. Maybe it was a God shot. Maybe I didn't know about the business partners in that situation that I would be looking at I had a couple of signs that came in. People mentioned as I was talking to them about the business opportunity, and they were looking at it, and I was like, a couple of the people were like warning signs. Maybe there's nothing to it. Maybe I'm just making an excuse of being, disappointed in the situation. But there are signs that I paid attention to. Maybe my higher power is looking out for me and protecting me from a situation that's unknown and that may not work out the way I thought it was going to work out. We always look at grass as greener on the other side, and
Right.
we don't realize, we also got to look at the grass as pretty green on our current side too.
Right. And I think a lot of people don't see that. I think a lot of people think, oh, things are going to be much better over there. And when they get over there, they're like, I really want to go back to the lawn that I had over there because it was way better. But it sounds to me like you had that you're grateful for the chance, and you're probably grateful for the non-opportunity because if, like you said, you saw some warning signs and you didn't want to have to, deal with having that negativity if there truly were those warning signs. A lot of times I think that we are able to come up with a solution honestly on our own a lot of times if we just think about the way that things are rather than jumping to you know that new opportunity. I mean, of course new opportunities are great, but sometimes the opportunity or what you have right now is good for the moment, and you just kind of follow the path to what's going to get you to the next thing. And it sounds like you're going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to do that here soon.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. I have a quote that I want to read to you that I ran into this morning, not this morning, this week that came about, and it was. And it's funny. I have like 6 quotes that I took snapshots of from Facebook and graphics, and this one out of the 5 that I just clicked on my phone just now showed up right away. Immediately, there's like 5 quotes and 5 different pictures, and it's hard to sometimes find the right one.
Oh,
But this one
yes.
popped right up on my phone. And it basically says, as you start to walk on the way appears.
That's what we talk about almost every single week.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a different angle on it. As you start to walk on the way appears. And a famous poet slash philosopher named Rumi, who was a Persian philosopher back in, I think, 1500 or 1600s. Rumi and Hafiz are these 2 Persian poets and philosophers that were incredibly spiritual and incredibly deep. They talk a lot about everything about life, love, success, everything that has to do with life, I guess. And so, yeah, it's been so much of it is your mind. There's another quote that I want to read about the mind, and it's fascinating to me that again, the second quote out of the 6 pictures, I clicked on this picture number 4, and this quote popped up again on the phone. So there's definitely signs. We're meant to talk about it. And this one is a Greek philosopher that's saying this. You have power over your mind, not outside events.
Truth.
Realize this and you will find strength. So you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius said this, who was a Greek philosopher. So how do you control the mind? How do you think about changing your perspective in your mindset? And your mindset is really your attitude, right? That's what you can control. How do we shift our mind? We shift it. One of the ways, and research has shown all those benefits that I mentioned to you about gratitude, about being grateful. As soon as you turn on the faucet of gratefulness, you immediately turn on the positivity. You immediately turn on manifestation of all the things around what you're grateful for, what you attract. Your mind starts to shift to a positive attitude. And once you start getting to a positive attitude, you attract what you're thinking about. So all the positive emotions flow from being grateful. That's why I think the attitude of grateful is a great topic for today. And it just that's my final comment is if you want to shift your mindset, if you want to shift your thoughts, having an attitude of gratitude and thinking about what you're grateful for every single day and making a list of it, it's probably one of the best tools that I can recommend for anybody.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Fall Rise Give, where we explore stories of resilience, growth, and giving back. If you enjoyed today's episode, please visit our website at www.fallrisegive.com. Also consider subscribing to our podcast on your favorite platform and leaving us a review. Your feedback helps us to continue to bring you inspiring stories. Stay tuned for our next episode, and remember, every fall is a chance to rise, and every rise is an opportunity to give. Until next time, keep falling, rising, and giving. This is Fall Rise Give, produced by podcastforhire.com. Thank you for listening.